Hold
See,
on,
I'm here.
hold on. Let me just put the tunes on. Done my homework. Done my homework.
Yeah, I like this. I like that. I like that. I like it. I
Well,
like it.
first of all, I need to say round of applause. Thank you for finally getting here after 768 million DMs.
I know. I know. I don't want to point fingers and who's to blame for all of that. But the matter is that I'm here now. I appreciate your time. Thank you for having me and whatnot.
Oh
I've
no,
been
you ain't
working.
pointing them fingers at me.
No, 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 no. Of course not. Of course not directly. It's just it's going elsewhere. You know what I'm saying? I'm already in bad books. I'm here to make up for
Oh,
my mistakes.
October Red does not have any bad books, but she usually doesn't chase. And I've chased you a
Mm,
few times, so
I
yeah,
know.
I'll
I
leave
know.
that one with you. But thank you very much for joining us on October Red Interviews. I'm joined by Ezra the Cannon Taylor. This is not the way I wanted to do it, Ezra. I wanted to be in the gym,
Mm.
but
Me
obviously that
too.
didn't materialize.
Me too. But given the circumstances and the situation,
Yeah.
it's the best we can do for now. And then later on, as time progresses, then you can definitely come to my second home for sure.
Okay, because you're in between two places, but we'll come on to that. I just want you to introduce yourself to our viewers. Those that don't know you, don't know anything about you, let us know who Ezra the Cannon Taylor is.
Oh boy, Ezra, the Cannon Taylor. I'm a professional boxer, 1-0. I had my debut in March 2020, and then the next week after that, it was COVID, but it was a good turnout. I stopped my opponent in the second round. Obviously, the momentum was there, ready to tackle anyone else who wanted to stand in my way. But then, obviously, COVID happened. So I've just been busy, really. I've just been busy, or just remaining as busy as I can behind the scenes, just because obviously the situation we're in now as boxers, even the world in general, you can get a phone call and an opportunity could be there. And obviously with the industry that I'm in, I can't be letting up any opportunities. So I'm just making sure that I'm ready at any time. And at the moment, I've got a few things pending, a few big things pending. So a lot of things should be coming to light in the next few months.
Nice one. But I want to get to know you a little bit. Obviously, you haven't been a guest on our show before. And it's just a chance for us to get to know each other, really, because I don't know if you've seen any of the stuff that I do, but I like to speak to the boxers, get a feel about them, how they started, and literally follow them through their career. I've got a great passion for the sport. You're in a weight category that I like as well, which is quite tasty over here, light heavyweight. So talk to me a little bit about how you got into boxing, because I know you're 26 now, right?
Yeah, 26.
Okay, so talk to me a little bit about how you got into boxing in the first place.
Um, it's a bit of a crazy one, to be honest. I've told this story many a time, but even every time I say it, it doesn't really make sense in my head because it's a weird way how I got into boxing. It's that normally people will say, oh, I went to boxing because I was bad at school, or I went to boxing because I had nothing else, and etc. And me, I was just a young kid who just wanted to get into a sport. No matter what it was, I tried football, tried basketball, even tried tennis. It just wasn't sitting around me. I wasn't that good at it either, to be honest. Then I think 15, I was like, oh, I'd like to try boxing, but I didn't have any boxing clubs around me. So I had to travel like quite far just to get to this one boxing club, which is Bilbao Boxing Club, that I still box there to this day. It's an amateur boxing club. And yeah, so I went there on a Saturday just to do the keep fit class. And after that, I don't know, I couldn't even hear out of one ear. Like my ears popped. I couldn't really see what was going on. I was dazed. I was dizzy, but I liked the feeling of it. So then, yeah, I just started attending every week. I was meant to go with a friend, but the friend, he sold me out. He wasn't even there. So then I was there on my own, off my own back. And I started going again off my own back. And then yeah, I got moved into the higher class, which is for the elites who are actual like registered and carded boxers. So these guys are boxing on the weekend, they're having bouts and etc. And I am not registered or nothing like that. So I got moved into this class. Training as normal, but obviously it's a bit more intense. That's when we started introducing sparring and whatnot. And that's when that was the breaking point for me because at the time I was 15, I was small and skinny, nothing like what I am now. And then I was getting thrown into the deep end in a way, sparring these guys who had fights, who spar on a regular basis, and it just wasn't going the way I wanted it to go. Put it that way. So then I just stopped. I just stopped for a bit. Just focused on life, got a job, and etc. But I was still going gym in this transition. So from 15 up until 19, 20, that's when like my growth spurt hit. I started going gym, got a bit of muscles on my arms. And I thought, you know what, let me go back to boxing now because I've got a bit more confidence, a bit more strength and whatnot. Then the rest is history, really. I stepped through the doors, my coach see me again, like, what is that, Ezra? I came through, obviously, I'm much bigger than what I was before. So then, he just put me through a few, he says it's like a few obstacles to see if I was going to pass it or not. So I had like my first spar away, my first away spar. And as boxers, like your away sparring is different to home sparring. It's like essentially a fight in a way.
You're out your comfort zone.
Yeah, exactly. So and I did everything that you put me out there to do. I passed it with flying colours, and then next thing I know, I was fighting people with 20, 30 fights, and I was only on my third fight, and I was winning. So on paper, I was meant to be losing, but I was meant to lose the fight. But in obviously real life terms, I was winning. So then it was kind of, people was like kind of recognizing me, saying, "Now who's this guy? He's only had 4 fights. It looks like I've had more fights because obviously the people I'm fighting." But again, I got thrown into the deep end. I was swimming nicely, and my amateur career was good. I ended it on 20-3. So again, it was kind of a rushed amateur career in comparison to other people. Because I started boxing, like I said, late in a sense. I came back when I was 19 and took it serious when I was 19. So I was just trying to just get everything compact as possible. And every time I jumped in the ring, it was always the experience that I lacked. But I had to make up for the experience that I lacked. I had to make up in that skill and my determination. So, and it worked out. It worked out well.
So, when you said you were like, you went into the gym when you were 15, you was getting in there with bigger fighters. What made you say, you know what, I don't know if this is for me? Because it's like the test, isn't it? It's like you get there, you get to a certain stage, and it's like, I don't know, it's like if there's a shock fight, or you get wobbled a bit and you have a word with yourself like, is this for me? What happened there to make you walk away from the gym? You're looking at what, 4 years?
Yeah. It was a while. It was one of those ones where obviously when I was doing it, I was gaining a bit of a passion for it, but I was gaining the passion for development. It wasn't essentially the passion for boxing. I just see myself developing in something. So that's why obviously when I was developing, I wasn't sparring a lot. I was sparring here and there, but it was controlled sparring. Like I was sparring people my level, etc. But then I started sparring people not my level, and I'm getting hit with shots that I'm not really knowing how to defend. I'm not seeing any development. I'm not being able to say, okay, cool, I sparred last week, got hit with this shot, or I couldn't deal with this, and now I'm dealing with this. Like the week after was the same story, I didn't feel like I was getting any development, even though in hindsight it probably was, but I just didn't feel in my heart of hearts that I was gaining any benefit from it. So that's what just made me just stop. And like I said, after that, I started working. Had my first job at Tesco, and then I just started just growing into like an aged teenager in a way. Obviously, he was going out, etc., etc. And then when I got a bit older, a bit more mature, I wouldn't say that I was super mature at that age, but I still knew what I was kind of wanted to do, like what type of line of work I wanted to get into, and it was boxing. It was boxing that stuck with me even from then. So that's what made me go back in, because like, if you stop something, like let's say for instance you stop something from now, and it's later on down the line, like you said, 3-4 years, it's still in the back of your mind, or you've got a bit of regret, or even like a bit of like skepticalness about it. Like, oh yeah, maybe I could do this if I tried. So then, in my head, I thought, you know what? I was saying to my friends all the time, it's like, I want to get back into boxing. I just thought, you know what? They didn't turn around and say, oh, yeah, you should do it. They didn't really say anything. I just said, in my head, I just pushed myself. I was like, you know what? Let me do it. And then, now I'm here. It's crazy.
I think you always find your way home. And like you said, it's always there in the back of your mind. So it will come back. It's like the ghost, isn't it? It's something that's there that follows you, and you just got to go back into it. But luckily for you, you did. You said you went on to have 20 amateur bouts, 23 amateur bouts, and finished on
23,
20 and 3. So the decision then to move over from amateur to pro, talk to me about that, because I've got here that you were going for the England Boxing National Amateur Championship. So talk to us a little bit about that, and then the transition into saying, okay, I'm going to go pro.
Well, again, since I started building a passion for it, a serious passion for it, my mindset started changing towards, you know, wanting to be the best in whatever I could be. So in that, obviously, at that time, it was an amateur box. I wanted to be the ABA champion. I wanted to go to GB. Would like to go to the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. All these things were in my head, but they were realistic to me. It may have sounded a bit crazy to other people, but I'm thinking in my head that I could make that. I could achieve that. So me and my coach, I set out a plan. I was just training, having these fights, having certain spars to build up to the championships. But as I mentioned, I was so inexperienced at the time. When I first entered the championships, I think I entered the championships when I was like under 10 under 20 bouts or something, because you get like categories. I think it's under 10s, under 10 fights, under 20 fights, and then after that you're elite. So the second time I entered championships, I only had 7 fights, but I entered the elite championships, which is over 20 fights. So the person I was fighting had about 60, 70 fights. So, but I was already that when I was mentioning I was in the deep end, it's because I was in the deep end. I wasn't just saying it for the sake of it. And it helped me in a way. It may obviously had its disadvantages, but it also had its advantages as well. Because I knew what I needed to do, how hard I needed to train to get there, and etc. But then I fell short. I got to the quarterfinals, the ABA quarterfinals, and I fell short there. And then the third time round, funny enough, that was national ABAs, and it was on my doorstep. So it was actually in Nottingham. I think I think it was for the first time in so many years, or I think the first time ever. So it was a big thing that I'm entering it. I was kind of picked to win it in a sense, because there's certain people that I was in that category I've already beat, and etc. So yeah, obviously everything was kind of in my favor. But on the day, I had one fight on the Friday. You fight Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I had the fight on Friday, won that unanimous. And the next fight, what happened was that it was like a miscommunication. Even now, me and my coach don't really speak about it too much because it's sensitive, but we don't really know what happened. But long story short, I got the times wrong, or someone got the times wrong. Whoever gave me the information, I got the times wrong of the weigh-in. So let's say, for example, the weigh-in was 10 till 12. I was under the impression that the weigh-in was let's say 11 till 1, and I pulled up at like let's say 12. I got like a phone call from one of my, or like I think she's like the amateur secretary. She rang me like, "Oh, Ezra, where are you? Where are you?" I was like, "Oh, I'm about to leave my house now." And they're like, "You've got like 3 minutes to weigh in." I'm saying, "What?" So then, yeah, I've jumped in the car, tried to speed as much as possible, get there. So obviously got there too late. I ran it. All the judges was there, all the officials, and I was just begging them. I was like, "Oh, please, I'm here. I'm on weight. I'm ready to fight. Let's go." They're saying, "No, you missed the criteria. You missed the weigh-in slot." So unfortunately, that's it. And that was it. That was my dreams essentially just crushed there and then. And it was so horrible because, again, let's say for instance I had a fight and I lost. I did everything I could do and I lost. Then it would have been easier to understand and probably look back at it and etc. move on. But seeing as I didn't even get to that, I didn't even get to that stage. And again, I was so confident in winning that whole championship, full stop. And yeah, that's what happened really. And that's what kind of made me sit down and just reevaluate my decision. Because again, if I waited again another year for the amateur championships, then it would have just pushed everything. And on top of that too, I'm already slightly on the older side of boxers in a way. And I didn't really want to waste any time. I think I was 23 at the time, or whatever I was. I just didn't want to waste any time because time is crucial in boxing. And that's one thing I didn't want to waste. So I thought, you know what, I'm happy to make the transition to professional now. And just learn. You learn on the job anyway, and that's what I've been doing. That's why I've been training hard behind closed doors and etc. So yeah, I feel like at the time I was still unsure about the making the transition. Even when I did it, I was still, and ahhing. But now I know that it was for the right reasons at the right time. Everything's happened for a reason. It always happens at the right time as well. And that's definitely a motto that I stand by in my life.
Yeah, absolutely. So then you make your debut. I'm not going to pronounce your opponent's name. I did watch the fight and the kerfuffle about him taking his jeans off at the weigh-in. That was interesting. So yeah, you got him out of there. I think it was round 2, wasn't it?
Round 2, yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about your style of fighting, because I'm going to say I've watched it, and I'm going to say that you're a body shotter. You like to give body shots and hooks, a couple of screw shots, but in your words, describe your style of fighting.
Do you know what? I'd like to say given from what you've seen at that professional debut, it's probably going to be hard to understand. But I would say that I'm a technical fighter. I'm a boxer at the end of the day. I'm not a fighter. I'm a boxer. I like to pick people apart. I like it to be very, very technically based, like a chess match in a way. That debut, I didn't really get a chance to
showcase
to prove that purely because as a boxer, it's easier, or sometimes you get more confidence and you get comfortable when they're throwing shots back at you. You have to roll, you have to slip, you have to adjust, you have to adapt. That's what we're used to. When I went in the ring, obviously I know he's there to, get me warmed up to the whole professional environment, which I respect. But there's no shots coming back at me, so it wasn't really so. There's only so much I could do. I could pick him apart all I want, but what's the point in picking someone apart when he's there to just take out full stop? So yeah, that's when I just thought, you know what, may as well just let my hands go in a sense. And then obviously I took him out with the body shots and etc. And obviously I didn't really want to throw too many heavy shots because the way he was guarding up, I was kind of hitting him sometimes on the crown of his head, I did on the side of his head and whatnot. And obviously with that, I don't really want the impact on my hands. It weren't really feeling too great when I was landing these shots. I'm putting a lot of power into them as well. So obviously I just mixed it up, went to the body as well, mixed it up, threw some uppercuts and whatnot. But to me, that debut was a bit sloppy on my behalf anyway, because I know what I can do. But again, as the later rounds, come to me, and as I progress throughout my career, you get to see obviously what type of arsenal I have, what type of inventory that I do carry.
That's quite a bit of honest feedback, actually, considering it's your debut. You're quite critical of yourself, which I guess is good because you can only get better if you can analyze your first performance and say, look, I never really got out what I wanted to, because like there's myself that will watch it and then make that assumption based on one fight. When you know what you can bring to the table, but it's not all the time that you'll get to showcase that. And you've only had one fight. Do you know what I mean? So pushing forward then, because obviously you had that was March 2020, and then the world stopped. We're not going to get into that on here, but moving forward then, what can we expect from yourself in the future, as in fight dates, etc., etc.?
Well, again, at the moment, I've got a few things in concrete that's been sorted out and whatnot. But again, it's just time. It has to be the right time when I can announce it and etc. But what I can say is I should be fighting late summer. That's all I can say at the moment. That should be, towards the end of July, beginning of August, or anything around those dates or that time period. But that's what I'm looking forward to anyway. Again, like I was mentioning, I've been working hard behind closed doors, been working smarter and harder. People say, work smart, work hard, don't work hard. But I'm doing both right now. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm confident, very looking forward to being in the ring and showcasing my skills, getting a chance to do it, on a bigger platform. That's all I can say at the moment. But I'm ready.
Do you feel like, as a professional boxer, obviously with the pandemic, do you feel a little bit frustrated on the delays that it's had on boxing, or would you still go behind your motto words that it's all about timing? But I don't know, just as you're skilled in something, you're a professional fighter, you get paid when you fight, there's no fights happening. How does that make you feel?
You know what? at the start, I was, everyone was outraged and etc., having to deal with difficult times. But like I was saying, and I am a man of my word, and I really do truly believe that everything happens for a reason. God has always got a path for you and a journey. Even if you pray, oh, can I get this tomorrow? You may not get it tomorrow, you may get something better next week. And I think that's kind of what's happened because, again, moving into my private life, just dipping on it quickly. I had a baby boy during lockdown. And
Congratulations.
thank you. If I was fighting at that time, obviously it would be brilliant to fight, of course, but I wouldn't be able to, tend for my family, make sure my partners are well, make sure my baby's well, seeing him develop, seeing him grow, just taking care of your family, you know what I'm saying? So normally in a situation like that, you have to kind of weigh out the positives and the negatives. The positives that my family is healthy, I'm healthy, I'm able to do what I love still. I was able to be around my baby boy. So, and on top of that too, and still train. I didn't have to stop training. I was still training regardless. I don't make excuses. So, yeah, it's annoying, of course. Even now, it's very, very annoying because things are getting pushed back, delayed. I'll get told a date gets delayed. The same way like me and you, really, we get told, yeah, let's do the Zoom meeting.
No, you
Gets
just
delayed.
don't turn up.
Yeah, no. We said delayed. It's delayed. But yeah, little things like that. It's just, it's niggles, little niggles. But it just sometimes you have to ask yourself how much do you really want it. Are you really gonna make something like this gonna stop you and your journey and all the sacrifices you made? Because I've seen a lot of boxers stop boxing, take up a job, just lose interest, stop training, and everything they're doing is understandable. I get it, but for me, it's not relatable. I can't relate to that because I've made too many sacrifices to get to where I am now, and I know I've got to make so many to get, even further in my life to accomplish my dreams. So yeah. To answer your question overall, I'd say again, everything's happened for a reason, and I'm just happy to still be in the position I'm in with the opportunities on the way as well.
That's a very, very mature mindset to have for such a young man himself. But obviously, you've taken on the role of being a father. So I guess that your maturity would have had to have stepped up over the last 12 months because now you've got a responsibility with your family. So we're going to go back to boxing in relation to your trainer. You said that you were started off in the gym with Willingborough?
Ray Ricketts. Bilbro, yeah, Bilbro, and the coach is called Ray Ricketts, yeah.
Ray Ricketts and your trainer. So you've had that trainer from you started. So that trainer knows you in and out. And has he followed you into your professional career?
He has, yeah. I was the reason why he got his professional license, being able to be in the corner because again, I'm all about loyalty in a sense. Like, don't get me wrong, I probably could go elsewhere, and improve my skills. Many trainers out there who are great and they probably can bring a lot to the table. A lot of people was saying to me like, your coach has only got you to so far. He can't get you to any further now. It's time to go to somewhere else and they'll take you there. And it's understandable. I get it. But you see, with boxing, if you don't have people who are genuinely there for you, and I know it's going to be hard because I know my coach is genuinely there for me, regardless of what happens in my boxing career. He's there for me. And I'm there for him as well because he's dedicated his time. Even the amateur days, we're out here training at mad times every day, and he's not getting paid for it. He may get a bit of pay from elsewhere, but he's not getting paid to invest his time into me, for me to accomplish my dream. So I could never leave him behind in my journey. There's no way. So even if I go elsewhere, move to America, etc., I will still report back to him. I always have to, consolidate with him, make sure, is this right? Look at this sparring. Am I doing this right? Always have to check in with him regardless. But right now, I'm in London, based in London, training with my manager's club, and that's going very well as well. But again, we liaise. So whatever I do in the gym, it goes back to my coach. He knows what I'm doing. I've said I come back home every 2 to 3 weeks, and I train with him as well. So that's how I like it. I like to keep it like that as well.
Does that work then between the two coaches?
It does because they don't want to step on each other's toes, and it's just all about my development. Really and truly, there's a lot of egos in boxing, and some coaches don't want to work with some coaches because they don't want to work with other coaches, etc. But if you're really passionate, like I said, it reverts back to what I just said. If you're genuinely passionate about the boxer or whatever you're trying to do, the path you're on, then you don't really care about anyone else. You really care about that sole individual, regardless, even if it's yourself. But in this case, it's me. And I know my coach wants to see me achieve the best I can be out of my ability. And so is my other coach as well, Julian. He's my coach in London as well. He wants to see the same. My manager, Costas, he wants to see the same. So we're all on the same level. Once you're all on the same level for something, then it can work. And since I've been doing that, I've been seeing the improvement and the developments there.
Okay. And that's what it's about. So it's good that everyone can have like a mature head on their shoulders and say, you know what, let's do what's best for this kid. Let's work together, even though we're towns, we're cities apart, and let's get the best out of Ezra for his career. Because I mean, let's face it, at the end of the day, through your career, through your journey, as you climb the ranks in boxing and get to the top, they're going to be eating anyway. So it is an investment. So sometimes you just got to like say, you know what, let's just deal with it. Let's just work with what we've got. Because at the end of the day, this fighter is an investment.
Exactly that. Because again, at the end of the day, I just want to achieve my goals. If I achieve my goals, or when I achieve my goals, that's when I want my team to achieve their goals as well. I want them to be with me from the start, from the bottom, from the start all the way to the top. It doesn't make any sense. People can come along the way, but you just need to know who's grounded and who's been there for you from day one. And so when I do achieve or receive the successes and etc., then I'll be able to give that to them, put them in a position to be able to receive the blessings that I'm receiving. And it's because of them, with the team that I have, the support that I have. I'm not going to say it's all down to them, but they play a major role in it, as well as my determination and the rest of it. They also help as well. And that's why I was having a conversation to my friend the other day, and I was saying that a lot of boxers, they don't really have that support. They could be amazing, the talent, etc., but sometimes they just don't have the support behind them to just push them that further, or even when your mind starts straying, get you back on the the straight and narrow, and then crack on. Some people, they don't have that, unfortunately. But again, I'm blessed, and I'm also acknowledged that how grateful I am for that, because people don't have that.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because we see a lot of amateur coaches, that have done the groundwork with the fighters. They get them to a certain level, and then I don't know, they get a voice in their ear saying, "Come over to me." Leave that person, like you said, you've experienced it yourself, where people have said, "Oh, he's took you to where you've been in your amateur, but you might want to try something else now to develop." What makes a fighter like deep down inside have that like loyalty to say, you know what, no, I'm staying here? Because that's a big thing with me. I've spoken to coaches, trainers, and I've listened to their heartbreaking stories of fighters leaving them building that fighter from scratch, and then them just literally saying, yeah, thanks for that. See, and some of them not even doing that, just disappearing, and they're never to be seen again.
Yeah.
So what makes that type of fighter like yourself to say, nope, I'm staying where I am? To your coach, your amateur coach actually said, I'm going to turn over, I'm going to get my pro license so I can be there all the way through Ezra's career.
Do you know what? I'm not too sure, because again, like you said, I've also heard heartbreaking stories of coaches saying that they've been with me from here. Look, here's a video, they're showing me this, and then boom, they disappear. They don't even come back to the club. They don't even come back and support the grassroots coming up, or the go to show the belts or things that they achieved. Even if they do that, they don't even do that sometimes. But again, it's hard for me to speak on their behalf, because again, I can't relate to that. It's just embodied in me, in a sense. Like I'm just real. So I couldn't leave my coach, someone who's got me to where I am. If anything, it's easier to leave the people that have come on board late, instead of, and even sometimes it's hard, because again, you've got to kind of differentiate obviously your loyalty and your development. What if that coach wasn't actually bringing out the best in you at that time, but he's got you to where you are? You have to start asking yourself these questions. But again, it's good to have a team, and if everyone speaks about it, everyone's on the same page, then I feel like you should be able to come to a mutual decision of what. Because I was sitting there, I was weighing up what I need to do, if I should try out another coach and should do this and do that. Again, a lot of people have come to me and said, Ray's took you to this certain level, and you need to go elsewhere now for this and that. And I get it, I understand it, and you can still move on, but you also can still hold on and be with your coach. You don't have to, cut all ties, and that's what a lot of people do. You can still be involved. They can still be involved in your journey. It doesn't have to be like, imagine if you had a long distance relationship. How would you make that work? This is kind of the same thing. You have to make it work. You have to find ways to make it work if you want it to work. That is,
And if it's
and again,
beneficial
that's
to
just something
you.
was, yeah. It's about you. It's about what you stand for, what your principles are, and how you're kind of wired up as a human. Again, some people can do that, and they probably feel no way about it. That's good on them. But that's just something that wouldn't sit right with me. Imagine if I was holding up the WBA belt, the WBO belt, the IBO belt, and I haven't got my coach who started it off around me. It just doesn't make any sense. I wouldn't be able to enjoy the happiness that comes with it, because I know that it's kind of, he deserves it as
Really
well as
part
me.
of it, yeah.
yeah, exactly. So I wouldn't be able to. I can't answer it for other people, but me, it's just, I feel like it's just how you're wired up. It just depends on what you stand for in your life, in a sense.
Yeah, so true. So in relation to your promotion, who are you promoted by at the moment?
Well, when I had that fight, I wasn't promoted by anyone. Um, we we had a lot of offers on the table, 3-year deals, 2-year deals, and etc. But again, me and my team, we sat down and we established that I have enough. Well, I guess I have a strong structure to be able to kind of sell myself in a way. Because what a promoter does is sell you,
Yep.
put you on shows and etc. And sometimes you see and hear stories of people signing with certain promotions, not being able to fight outside of their promotion and etc. Having to sit there and you can't do nothing else, and that's your career
So,
wasted in a way. So we wanted to make sure that we had as much leverage as possible, regardless of what it could be, where we're going, etc. We just wanted to make sure that we had enough leverage, and we did at the time. But again, there's opportunities opening up now that I can't really speak on at the moment. But there's opportunities that are opening
I
up.
was just trying to worm my way in there to try and get it out
I
of
know,
you.
I know, I know. It wouldn't be you if you didn't try. But yeah.
But you sound like you
Soon
know
enough,
me.
soon enough. Huh?
You
I
sound
do. I
like you
feel
know
like it.
me.
I feel like it. I feel like it. I'm gauging. I'm gauging right
Mhm.
now. But yeah.
So, okay, so we'll have to wait for that kind of info to come out then. I'll be standing by, and hopefully you can come on our channel and announce that information. I won't say pick us first, but pick us first. I just want to get your thoughts on the light heavyweight division, excuse me, at the moment, because I think we've got some tasty fighters in the UK, but I want your opinion as an up and coming light heavyweight. What are your thoughts on the division at the moment? Because I think Lyndon Arthur's back out in July.
Yeah.
With Anthony Yard, obviously they're not fighting
Yard,
each other. And there's somebody else coming up as well. Oh, we've got Joshua Buatsi, who's on the fight camp. But just your opinion on the light heavyweight division.
It's exciting, to be honest. Because if you look at it, let's say a few years back, it was there, but again, sometimes it goes through like phases where a division is, much more popping than another time. So right now, I feel like, especially in the British scene as well, maybe not on the world scene to other people, but on the British scene right now, light heavyweight is definitely thriving. So it just gives me much more excitement to get in there, get busy, and get mixed up with the best of them. Because if I want to be the best, I want to mix up with whoever is the best at that time, whoever I need to get into. But it's good. It's good. I'd like to see a few of the, obviously the best that you mentioned, fight each other, and like we already seen, Arthur already fought Yard and etc. But these are the fights we need to be seeing, in a sense of skill, because like I said, since it's so busy right now in the British scene, you got Craig Richards there as well, Shaq and Pitters, you got all of them there, and they obviously are fighting each other slowly but surely, but it's good, and it's good for me as well, because when I watch these fights, I just envision myself being there, and I know I can mix it up with them. I know people may look at it like, "What? You only had one fight," but I know in my heart of hearts, when I get to that stage, and when I get to that level of experience, I can definitely mix up. So I'm just ready and rearing to go.
Mm. So any advice then from yourself to any amateur up and coming fighters dealing with this situation that we've got with the lockdown, they're considering turning over pro? See, as your younger self, what advice would you give to your younger self if you was to do anything different? What would it be?
You know what? I'd say probably just take your time. Take your time, because again, I was always battling with it's a thought, really. It wasn't actually the reality. It's a thought of time, pressure. I'm old. I haven't really got that much time, because I'm looking at these other youngsters doing a lot, accomplishing more than me. So I'm thinking in my head, I haven't got a lot of time. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to fast track myself. I would say just take your time. Always just speak with your coach. There's things that amateur boxers deal with as well. It's not always professional boxers that deal with, stress and all these things here. Amateur boxers, we got to deal with a lot. I think amateur boxers, obviously, I haven't really migrated fully into the professional scene, but amateur boxing is difficult, and I think people overlook that. You weigh in on the same day and you fight the same day. Little things like that. You're young, but you're still trying to make weight. You shouldn't have to make weight. Yeah, at your age, you shouldn't. Or whatever age you're at in amateur boxing, you shouldn't really have to make weight. That's one thing that I should have told myself. I should have just fought at whatever weight I was comfortable at. But yeah, I'm digressing. But yeah, in general, if I should give any advice, I say just take your time with everything you do in life, especially amateur boxing. Take your time. When you feel it's right to go to professional and make that transition, you feel it. You won't just be like, oh, okay, cool, I'm going to turn pro. You may say, I'm going to turn pro and not want to do it. And listen to your inner thoughts, because then later on down the line, an opportunity will, prove itself, and then you'll say, yeah, all right, cool. Now we'll go professional because it makes sense. It may not make sense now, but it will make sense later on, 100%.
Yeah. And finally, can you shout out your sponsors? And if you're actively looking for sponsors, give yourself a little bit of a plug on those as well.
You know what? I see boxers do this all the time, and I don't think I've ever done this, but I'll shout out my sponsors 100%. NRG Fuel, Super Retro Bros, One Bang. I've got more, but it's just not in my head. This is why I say I see boxers do this all the time, but I'm not good at this. I'm not good at this.
They all forget. Trust me, they all forget, because you put
it's
on
horrible. It's horrible. And then you get that, and then after, the sponsors will message you like, "What's going on?" Oh, okay, cool.
As a sponsor,
Complex Clothing,
I can say that I will message you if you don't mention my name and what I do. I'm coming for you in those messages.
Oh no, I'm hitting you. Yeah, 100%. Thank you for your time. Thank you for putting me on this platform. I appreciate it greatly, because again, right now I'm not really doing anything. It doesn't look like I'm doing anything. I am 100%.
I'll see you in the gym.
On the scene, it doesn't look like I'm doing a lot, but I am. So thank you for bringing me on here to share my opinions. Shout out my sponsors again, Rob, Michael, my manager Costas, my coach Ray, Julian, and everyone else in my team as well. You know who you are. Complex Clothing, Glitch Anomaly. Yeah, and October Red.
October Red. So you're actively still looking for sponsors as well then, yeah?
Well, sponsors are always good, I guess. If you want to get involved, then hit me up. But I wouldn't say right now actively looking for sponsors. But again, the more the merrier, if it makes sense, that is.
Yeah, absolutely. So Ezra the Cannon Taylor, thank you very much for finally getting here. Like I said, we're not going to go into it, but thanks for finally getting here. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you. So I really appreciate your time. Don't let this be the last time. Hopefully we'll speak again soon, and you can give us some of those details that you're evading at the moment. So yeah, thank you for coming on October Red Boxing, and no doubt we'll speak to you soon.
No worries. Thank you for your time again.
Hi, and thank you for watching October Red Boxing. Like, subscribe, and tap the bell for notifications. You can also find us on Instagram at October Red Boxing and on Twitter, October Red UK. And remember, at October Red, we stay ready.